All right, we're going to go ahead and call the City Commission meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I can always tell it's going to be a special night when we have a full room. Al, roll call.
Benson.
Here.
Brunick.
Here.
Johnson.
Present.
Maibaum.
Present.
Schramm.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Villanueva.
Present.
Mayor Moser.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherder.
Here.
All right, moving on to number 2 under routine business is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 25th, 2021. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
There was a item that I noticed, and it had to do with the Resolution 2189 over the pool rates. It was noted in there that it was a unanimous vote in the affirmative, and there were actually 2 votes opposed. Obviously, Commissioners Schramm and Maibaum, and that's not noted in here.
I'll make sure that we get that corrected.
Thank you. Commissioners Schramm and Maibaum voted to not raise the pool rates for 2022, just so that we're all on the same page. That's that guy and this guy.
Okay, we just wanted to clarify, we can vote to approve the minutes as amended without taking another motion. So appreciate your patience on that. Any other corrections or notations? Anybody in the public want to address the commission on the minutes? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same, nay. And any abstention? Motion carries. We'll now move on to the schedule of bills. What's your pleasure?
Move that we pay the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pay the bills. Is there any commission discussion? Would anybody in the public like to address the commission on the bills? Seeing no movement, Al, roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Maibaum.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. I will now, we don't have this on the agenda. We have quite a few special guests tonight, but I will turn it over to City Manager Leon to introduce our first special guest.
Thank you, Mayor Mosher, honorable mayors of the commission and the public. Before we get started with our proclamations this evening, we would like to introduce you to our new canine unit, Canine Corona, and his handler, or her handler, Officer Wilson. Corona joined us late this summer, and she's been going through her training and sniffing out crime. She is a beautiful Belgian Malinois, I believe is how you pronounce that. And I will let Officer Wilson tell you a little bit about her. She's certainly got a sweet personality, but like other city employees, you don't want to get on their bad side. So as long as you're, abiding by the rule of the law, Corona will be nice to you, and she's got a good personality. So I'll let Officer Wilson tell you a little bit about her. And Officer Wilson is also one of our employees that is a veteran, and he's a serviceman, and so we thank him on Veterans Day for his service to not just our community, but our country as well. So, hi, Officer Wilson.
Hi. This is Corona. She's not quite 2 years, so she's a little young, but she is very excited to work all the time. Her days off, she spends just nonstop running. Was born in the Netherlands. She is a Dutch Shepherd, which is very close to Malinois, but yeah, she's been great so far.
Any questions for?
She is beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
She is so beautiful. She seems a little thin, though. Can we give her treats?
They like her thin.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very fast. I would not run.
Word to the wise.
I have a question, kind of where are you at in training? Is she out and on the roads currently serving us, or are you guys still in training, or where are you at in that process?
So we did 6 weeks of narc training so far, so she can detect odors of narcotics, illegal narcotics, but we haven't gone to the patrol school yet, so the apprehension part will be later when we can go up to Sioux Falls and do that.
And Corona joins our other canine unit, Canine Max, who is handled by the Knowles family, by Pat Knowles is Max's handler. So she's got a good mentor and good succession planning like we try to do with all our employees. So I don't know, Chief, have we had a female canine yet?
No.
So that's a new experience for our department, so.
Oh, I take that back. Babe, or first dog, wasn't.
Okay. So- All right, well, thank you, Officer Wilson, and thank you, Corona, for all you're doing. She likes the chief. She knows who signs the paychecks there in the PD.
She knows
Or
where the
maybe
dog,
who
where
has
the
the
dog
treats.
treats come from. He's hiding them in his pocket, so that's what she's looking for.
Thank you, Officer Wilson.
Thank you, Officer Wilson, for what you're doing and for your service, being that it's Veterans Week. All right, we do have 2 proclamations tonight, so bear with me. Our first one is for the 2021 Giving Tuesday. Whereas Giving Tuesday was established as a national day of giving on the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a celebration of philanthropy, I can't even say philanthropy. Hey, all right, see, you can make mistakes, even as a mayor, reading in front of a lot of people. And volunteerism, where people give whatever they are able to give, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a day where citizens work together to share commitments, rally for favorite causes, build a stronger community, and think about other people. And whereas it is fitting and proper on Giving Tuesday and on every day to recognize the tremendous impact of volunteerism and community service in the city of Yankton, South Dakota. And whereas Giving Tuesday is an opportunity to encourage citizens to serve others throughout this holiday season and during other times of the year. Now therefore, I, Stephanie Mosier, Mayor of the City of Yankton, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim November 30th, 2021 as Giving Tuesday in the City of Yankton, South Dakota, and encourage all citizens to join together to give back to the community in any way that is personally meaningful. Do we have anybody here from Giving Tuesday? We didn't think we would. All right, we will make sure we get that proclamation to them. And do as the proclamation states, encourage all to give time, and gifts, personal gifts to your community is always important. And to remember as the holidays come up, that's as important as anything else as we look at the holiday season. All right, we've kept you waiting long enough, right? You guys are like, let's go. Did they tell you have to sit here the entire night? Oh my gosh, you guys should see their faces. That was hilarious. We won't make you do that, but we do have a very special proclamation tonight that we wanted to do, and it's for the 2021 Yankton Bucks Soccer Champions. Whereas through lots of hard work and dedication, the Yankton Bucks are the South Dakota State AA soccer champions for the 2021 season. And whereas the Bucks defeated Sioux Falls O'Gorman High School 1-0 on October 16th at Howard Wood Field to claim the state championship title and finish a historic season with a high school record of 15 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. And whereas this state soccer championship title is Yankton High School's first boys sanctioned state title and the 3rd title in program history, this season the Bucks shattered the school record with 12 game shutouts of their 15 games played. And whereas I'm hearing a lot of wows up here. Whereas the Yankton Bucks championship soccer team also finished the season as the ESD co-champions. They outscored their opponents by a margin of 51 goals and held their opponents to only 7 goals against during the entire season. And whereas the city of Yankton is grateful for the players, parents, coaches, and fans who displayed professional sportsmanship during this season, and especially during the state tournament in Sioux Falls. And whereas a successful sports team is part of a strong school system preparing the next generation to become leaders, skilled workers, responsible and healthy citizens in our community. Now, therefore, I, Stephanie Mosier, Mayor of Yankton, South Dakota, and with my fellow city commissioners and the citizens of Yankton, South Dakota, would like to proclaim heartfelt appreciation to the 2021 soccer team for their time, energy, skills, fulfillment, and commitment they have put in towards attaining the title of state champions. And I further proclaim November 8, 2021 as Yankton Bucks Soccer Day.
If the players would like to come up front,
We'd have players or any coaching staff who'd come up front. You all deserve this proclamation,
we'll
not
get
just one
a
of you.
photo
We'll get a
with you
photo.
all, and then,
And I would ask any commissioners who would be willing to join in the picture as well to come up front.
and if someone from the soccer team would like to speak, we'll hear from them as well after we take the picture. there's a captain that would like to speak or anything? Okay.
All right. Well, I have to tell you, that is a very impressive group of young men who definitely put Yankton in the record books this season, and I understand it's parent-teacher conferences tonight, so I know Coach Dan Bring, I'm sure, would love to be here, but he also wants to meet with folks that he teaches. So I've asked, they very quickly nominated one of the team captains. Will, could you, tell us who you are and give us a few words about the season, if you would.
My name is Will Pavlish. I'm a senior captain on this team. I guess a few words about this season. We came in, we thought we definitely had a shot at winning the title, so we worked hard every day at practice. Had a few ups and downs, I guess, and then finished the year exactly where we wanted to. We achieved all our goals, so I just couldn't ask for any more from the season.
In reading that proclamation, I would say you definitely had more ups than downs as you went into the season. What was your highlight? Well, winning a state championship, but what do you think as a team was your biggest accomplishment?
I would say probably our loss to Brandon Valley was probably one of our lowlights of the season, and then we came back and won, I think. We won out the rest of the season, had all shutouts, beat Aberdeen, won ESD with that, we're co-champions. So I would say that is probably the highlight.
Anybody else in the commission? We can keep them here as long as we want.
Fantastic job, guys. Way to go.
Can you beat the girls' team?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They won't play us though. We've been trying since our 8th grade year to play them, and Shearing always says no. So
Sounds like a challenge.
yeah.
I love it. Well, congratulations again on an awesome season. It's young men like you and our school programs that really make us proud to be Yankton residents. I hear about it all across the state. People say, Yankton, that's a town with a lot of good sporting teams, isn't it? And yeah. Absolutely. So congratulations again. And thanks for coming in tonight. I know you guys probably have other things to do, schoolwork, right? For sure. So thank you for coming in tonight. Congratulations again on an awesome season. We're very, very proud of you and excited to proclaim today as Yankton Bucks Soccer Day. I will take a couple minutes to let you guys, you're welcome to stay, but I'll give you a few minutes if you do decide you want to exit, but you can at this point. All right, that was fun. Hopefully, City Manager Leon, you can follow that up.
Well, I've never won a state championship yet. Yes, I have a number of items that I'd like to visit with you all about this evening. First of all, happy Veterans Day Thursday to all our folks who have served and are serving our great country. We have a number of veterans in our midst with the city of Yankton, and they're very special to us. We also like to honor veterans in the community, so in cooperation with the Parks Department, Colleen Bailey has put together another veterans display at Memorial Park. This was something that we did last year because we didn't want to get together and have sort of a presentation, but it was very well received by the community. It was something we could share with the community. So if you go to Memorial Park, you'll see there's a number of veterans, primarily I think this year from the Korean War, and they're featured there with some information about their biography. That'll stay up, weather permitting, through Thanksgiving. So we'd encourage people to go have a look and learn a little bit more about the brave men and women that we have that are keeping our country free, or kept our country free during a tumultuous time. So happy Veterans Day to everyone. City offices are closed Veterans Day, and that means we have a change in solid waste and recycling. So the solid waste and recycling that was to be picked up on Thursday, November 11th, will be picked up double routes on Wednesday, November 10th. So if your normal day is Thursday, you need to fall back, just like you did with your clocks, and get your cans out, wheels out. I rode the solid waste truck last week, and I have a newfound appreciation for folks bagging all their garbage and putting the wheels out. So don't be surprised if there's a public service announcement. Thanksgiving is also on a Thursday, so again, that's the 25th. We'll do solid waste and recycling double routes on the 24th. So our Thursday people need to really be thinking in November about checking the schedule. We'll put it up on our website. Typically, November is a time where we give thanks for increases in utility rates, and Al sends everybody a letter, and we get a lot of love. But as you know, in 2022, we are not raising our utility rates. We feel that the rates that are already established will cover what we need for the year, so we will not be sending that out. So Christmas, I guess, is a little bit early. Want to recognize two folks in our police department. Sergeant Monty Rothenberger was recently promoted to commander, so he will assume his post as commander within the next couple months. There needs to be a little making sure we have the right shifts covered in the right places, but many of you know Monty has been a great officer, great sergeant for us, and he'll be a great commander, so we're excited about that. We're also excited to announce that Preston Chrissy, who is currently one of our SROs, was promoted to be sergeant, so we're happy for him and excited about his role as sergeant. Now, that will leave a vacancy in January in the school, and I know that that'll be a loss to the school because he's done a great job building that program for us. But we are currently searching within our department for the next SRO to work with Officer Olson. So that will be forthcoming. Planning Commission does have an opening. We do have qualified candidates who have put their name in. That has not closed yet, so that's why that hasn't been announced, but we do have qualified candidates for that position, so anyone could still put their name in if they're interested in working with Dave Mingo and the Planning Commission. It's a good opportunity. They can just submit something in writing to our offices, and we'll put a name forward for your consideration. Our next meeting, we will be having a work session. It'll be the 22nd. We will ask that you meet at 5:30 as opposed to 6 because it's a Kyle topic and it's long and involved and lots of detail. So we'll be talking about the wastewater improvements and looking at some details there. If you're curious before we get to the 22nd, we would encourage you, as Commissioner Brunick did, to either spend some time with Kyle or give Kyle a call, talk to him a little bit. We will be working towards looking at a direction. We don't need you to vote or anything because it's a work session, but we'll need some direction about what it is we're going to be applying for with our funds for our state revolving loan funds and other monies that will come available. So we're going to be asking for some clarity on plant location and sort of the extent of the improvements. So we'll try to get that memo out to you as soon as possible so you have some time to digest it before, the weekend before. It will be pretty detailed, but we're working on that right now. So just in advance to plan for that. We were going to take our picture tonight if Commissioner Minor shows up between our regular meeting and executive session. We'll still do that. If not, we'll catch you next time. Christmas party, I think Colleen has probably reached out to all of you. Friday, the 3rd at River Rock Event Center. And so if you're attending that and you haven't talked to Colleen, please do so. You're invited as well as a guest. I don't know what the entertainment is. Al bought a new joke book I saw, so you might be hearing a bunch of jokes from Al. I've been practicing with Thanksgiving jokes, and the staff has not been impressed, but we'll see what happens. Notice to the media that will be a quorum. Of course, no city business discussed. It's just for the purposes of a holiday party. I believe we'll start around 6 o'clock, have a social hour, and then dinner and service awards and a Employee of the Year announcement, so that'll be exciting. Also, we're all invited to an appreciation dinner for the appreciation event, for the World Archery tournaments that occurred. That will be on Sunday, the 21st, and that's at NFAA. If folks are interested, 5 to 7. I'm just found that out today, so I'm telling the media about that. There won't be business discussed, but it's an appreciation event. I'm sure there'll be food there and just opportunity to celebrate that success for our community. We have been watching the interesting things happening in Congress for a couple of years now, but we're aware that there's the Build Back America plan. We don't have any information yet. It'll be months before we get details, but there may be some opportunities there for funding for some things, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on that. I have a few things under other business that I'm going to be visiting with you all about. And I also want to ask Commissioner Mybom if he'll share something with us. Colleen Bailey had an idea. One of her ideas for retention and appreciation was to give folks a little gift when they have a new addition in their family. So because Tony and his wife welcomed a new one, we gave him the same gift. So would you mind sharing that with us?
I will. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh.
Well, first of all, give us the details.
Our fifth baby boy, 5 boys, our 5th baby boy was born at the, I guess, the commission meeting before last. So it's not often that I miss commission meetings, but that was my excuse for having missed the commission meeting before last. His name is Colin, and he is an awesome baby boy, and he likes waking up early in the morning, and he's a big smiler. So we're a really blessed family. He is loved by his mom and dad, and loved even more by his big brothers, who can't get enough of him. Thank you. I appreciate this. That's adorable.
Yes, so we are making little onesies, and for those of you who can't read it, they have little yellow feet on them, and they say, City of Yankton Future Employee. So you can't say we don't have a recruitment plan. The Myboms are helping us out, but we have a lot of, actually, babies around City of Yankton are like popcorn right now. We have a lot of them right now. So it's fun and exciting for our employees, and it's a fun time. But we thought that was a cute idea, and just, not much, but just something to recognize that. So I think that's through my whole list, unless there are questions that the commission has of me.
Are there any questions for City Manager Leon? Everybody's still smiling at Tony having a 5th son, so I'm thinking we're done with that. All right. We should have put a big picture up, and then none of us would have got anything done. He is too cute. He's very adorable. All right, now is the time and place for anybody in the public who would like to address the City Commission on something not on the agenda. All right, moving on, then we'll move on to our consent agenda items. Number 1 is to establish November 22nd, 2021 as the date for a public hearing and consideration of applications for the renewal of alcoholic beverage licenses for 2022. Number 2 is establishing a public hearing for the sale of alcoholic beverages for November 22nd, established November 22nd, 2021 as the date for a public hearing on the request for a special events malt beverage on-sale retailer's license and a special on-sale wine retailer's license for 1 day, which is December 18th, 2021 from the center at 900 Whiting Drive. Number 3 was discussed by City Manager Leon, and that is setting the date of November 22nd, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. in room 114 here to have our next work session. And number 4 is consideration of Memorandum 231 regarding the request to shoot off a small fireworks show during the Holiday Lights Parade on December 2nd, 2021. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Anybody in the public? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And any abstention? All right, consent agenda item passed. Under old business, we have one item, which is the consideration of Memorandum 21-224, which is a second reading and public hearing. Public hearing to consider Ordinance 1056, which is a rezoning from an I-1 industrial to a B3 central business in Lower Yankton by Don't Tell My Wife I Bought This LLC and 5 Futures Properties LLC, who are the owners. The address is 215 Mulberry Street. Moving from I-1 to B3 allows for commercial and residential use. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Or I see Mr. Mingo has went to the mic. Anything, Dave, specifically to share on this, or just if there was commission discussion? Okay.
City staff and the Planning Commission both recommended approval. It's in line with the vision set forth in our comprehensive plan. So 20 years in the making, little steps like this walk us towards having a more diverse central business district with mixed uses.
Do we know what the plans are for the property, Dave?
He's discussed some different types of mixed occupancies, retail and residential, no specifics beyond that right now. But this is the first step before he would make any investments in building design or considerations of reconfiguration with all the utility work and everything that would have to go on in that building. It would look a lot different if it could be part of it could be residential than it would if it had to stay industrial.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, anybody in the public? All right, Al, roll call.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Abstain, Business Association.
Weber.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Number 1 is consideration of Memorandum 21-226 and Resolution 21-91 regarding a wheel loader purchase for the Chan Gurney Airport. This is to replace a 1998 Case wheel loader. Evidently an equipment 23 years is old, so looking at that. Coming from TransSource Truck Equipment, looking at a 2022 Volvo. We did budget $200,000 for that piece of equipment, and the bid came in at $196,311. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this? I believe in our commission packet, it was stated that we will keep the current equipment until the new one is in, and then it'll be surplus. Is that correct?
Yeah, this will be 6 to 9 months out as far as having it available. So we'll keep the current piece of equipment, and then the resolution also includes declaring it surplus. So at such time we get the new loader, we'll be able to go ahead and surplus the old one.
Any other questions? Anybody in the public? Al, roll call.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2 under new business is consideration of Memorandum 21-225 approving the submittal of the pre-application for a parallel taxiway rehab project and the construction of the first phase of the North Taxi Lane and Access Road project at the Chan Gurney Municipal Airport, and authorizing the city manager to sign the pre-application and subsequent application and administrative documents associated with the project. I believe this is a $1.35 million project with the city's percent of their cost being $87,750. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? All right, roll call.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 3 under new business is consideration of Memorandum 21-227 and Resolution 21-92 regarding the library contract between the City of Yankton and Yankton County. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I understand City Manager Lone, you'll kind of answer any questions or kind of just briefly walk us through.
Yes, Dana could not be here this evening, so if folks have questions, I'm happy to attempt to answer them. Same agreement as last year. You know, we do charge Yankton County residents and folks outside the county for library cards. Their contribution, the county's contribution to the Yankton Community Library has gone down over the years. And so, not that we recoup the cost necessarily at all by charging the cards, we just feel that we should, you know, charge something in order to help offset some of the costs of running that facility. We certainly don't want to discourage anyone from accessing the library, but I think staff's position would be that it would be nice if it was supplemented at a higher rate by the county. But any questions about the agreement, I'm happy to attempt to answer.
I was leaving that the same, then that's non-residents at $40 for a year and Yankton County residents at $20. Right, correct? Yep.
Correct.
Any other discussion? Anybody in the public? All right, roll call.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 4 under new business is consideration of Memorandum 21-229 regarding the agreement between the city and the Yankton Area Senior Citizen Center. This is for a 2022 lease agreement, which is the same as the 2021 agreement with no changes. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this lease agreement?
Curious to know why we only do a year lease with the folks at the center?
For budgeting reasons, we work with the county on operating the center, and on a year-to-year basis, as the city commission and county commission adopt the budget, if that relationship changes, right now it's 50-50, but if that relationship changes, there might be provisions in the lease that could change. So we could try to go for a longer period of time than that, which would be nice if we could make that commitment for a longer period of time. But that's been the reason that was explained to me in the past, why it's annual.
And that was explained to you by whom?
Gene Hoig.
Holy cow. Okay.
Any other commission discussion? Anybody in the public? All right, Al, roll call.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 5 under new business is consideration of Memorandum 21-230 regarding change order for the Huther Family Aquatics Center. What is your pleasure? Or we're going to have somebody come up first. All right. So I don't know who's going to come up. Adam, are you going to come up and talk about it? This is for $62,311.76. It's change order number 5, I believe, and there was quite a few items listed in the agenda packet. So Adam, do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, so as construction
took place last spring, getting the facility ready for opening and operation. There were some things along the way to help finish that project up that needed to change. There was some sidewalk along 21st Street adjacent to the project that was previously broken up, in rougher shape, and we just thought, well, instead of putting new sidewalk right next to sidewalk that needs to be replaced, we'll add that to the project. We made some modifications in the concession area with the electrical and the cabinetry work, so the icy machine would fit in the appropriate place. In the restrooms, the men's and the ladies' restrooms, there ended up being two corners that were relatively dark, so we added some lights in the restrooms. In the mechanical and electrical room in the main building, there was exposed insulation on the walls, and that didn't fly with the code department, so we ended up having to place gypsum board over the exposed insulation in that building, or that room of that building. If you notice this summer along Douglas and 21st Street, the boulevards, the fire trucks spent a lot of time spraying water along the boulevard to keep the grass watered. There's no irrigation in the original contract in those areas, so we felt it was worthwhile to add irrigation to those areas to keep that grass alive and growing. Added an outlet for one of the exterior clocks on the building. Noticed the bike racks were overwhelmed a lot of the times and outside the facility, so we thought it would be appropriate to add some more bike racks, so that was included in this. A baby changing station in the women's restroom, it was overlooked in the original design. The electric hand dryers in the men's and women's restrooms, there was either intentional drinks being poured down them, or they accidentally spilled on the dryers when they set their drinks on there to wash their hands. So we thought we should put something above them, so we put some shelving above those dryers to keep that from happening. And then there was a donor plaque that we needed to add to the project as well for the lawn area. So that's what's included in this change order. This change order is in the amount of $62,311. The previous change orders combined totaled $528,348. One thing to keep in mind is the majority of the change orders to date, the amount of change order to date comes from changing the pavement type in the parking lot. That was a $411,000 change order. So right now, if you take that $411,000 out, we're at about $180,000 roughly in change orders on this project, which is relatively low, very low actually. So I would expect there'll be one more change order more than likely. We have a few things we need to work out in the concession building yet with the HVAC system. But once that's complete, we can bring the change order in and hopefully close the project out. So.
Do we expect that yet before the end of the year, or is that?
I wouldn't expect to see that before the end of the year, no.
But something that would be done before we open? in
Yes,
spring.
yes.
Any other questions, clarification questions from the commission before I ask for a motion? All right, seeing none, I need a motion to approve the change order if that is your desire.
You've got a motion for me, you just need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further commission discussion? Anybody in the public like to address the commission on this? All right, Al, roll call.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Our final item under new business is consideration of Memorandum 21-232 and Resolution 21-93 regarding a request by the Holiday Festival of Lights Committee for a special events parking ordinance, number 933, to be in place during the Holiday Festival of Lights on December 2nd, 2021, and suspension of alcohol consumption. I believe this goes along Levy Street, up Cedar, and then down 3rd. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion? All right, well, I know one of the events that we love to have for the city that really kicks off the holiday season. Brittany, since you're here, you want to share anything with the commission, adding anything, what's going on? What are we all doing that night?
So Holiday Festival of Lights is going to look similar to what it has in 2019, 2018, 2017. We changed it up a little bit last year just to comply with social distancing, but we're going to start with the parade at 6 o'clock. Mayor Mosier is right. It does start on Levy Street. It goes past the Christmas tree, which is new. We haven't been able to do that when we've been kind of at our normal layout because of Kyle's big water treatment construction. So we're excited to kind of go back to this. We'll go down Cedar. We'll head north on Cedar and then east on 3rd Street. So it's just a little more pedestrian friendly for our crowds. Then we have our tree lighting ceremony, and then followed by fireworks. We're also going to partner with KYNT. They typically hold an annual a Prairie Christmas on stage live showing, and this year it's going to be at the Dakota Theater on December 2nd at 7:30. So it's kind of a whole night of Christmassy events. This year, you will see the Christmas tree is going to be in its normal spot. We're gonna cut one down from HSC, but that's our last tree out at HSC. So earlier this fall, we've been talking, and it was either we go away with the Christmas tree lighting or we finally get one spaded in. And I'm happy to announce that one was spaded in today. So if you go down there, you'll see that there's one spaded in. We won't be able to use it this year. We still have to get some electrical things figured out, but next year it'll be ready to go for us to use. And we're really excited about that. I can't give you the exact tree. I think it was a blue spruce, but I'll have to double check on that and let you guys all know. But it was a 16-footer, and we're really excited to have it come in. It's going to be a little bit smaller than what we typically have, but that's the biggest that they can spade in. So in a couple of years, it'll be big, and eventually it's going to be bigger than anything we could ever bring in. So we're really excited for that. But really excited for Holiday Festival of Lights this year. We're still looking for registration. For parade participants. That's open till November 19th. In past years, we've had up to 74, so we're hoping to get to about 70 this year.
Awesome. Always a fun night. Definitely a great way to kick off the season, Christmas season. Any other questions for Brittany or for discussion?
Who all makes up the organizing committee?
Me, myself, and I. And park staff. Park staff is very, very, very helpful. They do a lot of the tree. They do all the tree work. They get the lights up. They do a lot of everything. I just boss them around.
And I think that our Public Works Department and our Police Department, and, we have folks that are driving the plows because they're excited about the kids' project of painting the plows, and police officers make sure we don't get hurt there. And, I think we've had some entries from the police department in the past, if I'm not mistaken, and I think the fire department is, so we're all on the committee, we just have different jobs. I'm on the hot chocolate drinking committee.
Is this, in years past, has the route gone right off of Riverside onto Cedar before? Or is this the first time that that's happened?
I believe, so the very first year that we did this in 2016, we went west on 3rd Street to Cedar and then east on Levy. We kind of went backwards that way. But we realized the parade was still going on in some parts while people were walking over to the Christmas tree, so there was a lot of pedestrian vehicle, I don't know, traffic. So then we switched it around. So this is the first time that it's gone on Levy, Cedar to 3rd Street.
Gotcha. I was just curious because I see in the map here, and I just happened to take the route here today since I was downtown and didn't even realize it, but where Riverside connects with Cedar Street, you know, just that first block, that's residential. So I'm just looking at the map. We're sure, though, that that's not going to cause much, you know, heartache with homeowners there being able to still access.
Yep, I've gone down and talked to everyone that's impacted by the closure and let them know what's going on, and asked them if they didn't want the closure to come tonight, or give our lovely city manager a call letting them know that they didn't want that to happen. But everyone seems very willing and excited to have it right in their front door. They don't have to stay in the cold.
Is this the same route that, excuse me, we did for the Lancer Days parade?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully this becomes a universal Yankton parade route for parades other than Riverboat Days. So it's just easier for city staff to kind of patrol and monitor, and then for the community to know there's a parade, this is the route, this is where I always sit. Just kind of like Riverboat Days, everyone kind of has their spot. So we're trying to keep it universal for parade routes now that we can use this area.
Any teasing over the Grinch, possibly?
I would love for you to keep letting the police department know that we would love to see the Grinch come back.
We'll have to make sure his calendar's empty to be able to be here that night. So he can be arrested, so he can't steal Christmas. All right. Any other discussion? All right, anybody in the public? All right, roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, no Grinches on the commission, so let the holiday parade of lights take place. All right, we are now under other business, and as discussed earlier, we do have a few items that need to be discussed under other business, so I will turn it over to City Manager Leon.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the commission. Couple things that you guys brought to us as staff, and just looking for some feedback and points and feedback for you all on what the priority would be. So I'll just give a little description, and then if the commissioner that brought them up would like to talk a little bit about them. The first is something that Commissioner Johnson brought forward to me, pre-pandemic. And that was to do sort of a diplomatic exchange with the city of Norfolk. So we're kind of similar in size. We have some similarities. We've done some things differently, and I think there's an interest to share our stories, so to speak. So the idea would be maybe not necessarily all the commissioners participating, but commissioners and some staff participating in maybe a half-day exchange, and then hosting city officials from Norfolk to do the same, and then perhaps an invitation for a full commission to have lunch together or some type of meal together. So I don't know, Commissioner Johnson, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so the mayor of Norfolk and I met back at National League of Cities in 2019, so it would have been November 2019, and at that time we're talking about how close we are, but we don't have any knowledge of each other really because of the state border. All of our attention is to Pier and up here, you know. For Norfolk, it's Lincoln. So we just thought we have a lot in common being in larger cities in the region, and wanted to exchange ideas and build the relationship, see how we can perhaps help each other achieve what we want to achieve for our communities.
And I think show off a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you know, okay, so hold that thought. Commissioner Mybom asked Al and I about an opportunity for something that we're allowed to do, and that would be combining the city election that is typically held in April, and when we've had a school board election, we've combined it with the school board. So combining the city election with the county primary that happens in June. So if that is something of interest, that's something we could do. Of course, we'd have to talk with all folks involved, and there'd be a little bit of doings to do that. But I mean, what I would, when we get through all these things, I'll ask your interest, but it is a possibility for us. Do you have anything else on that?
Well, I would just say, like, baby steps would be important with doing something like this. The exchange that I've had with Sherry Loest, who chairs the county commission, also Dan Clemish as well. The thought might be just have kind of a discussion amongst a handful of maybe 2 commissioners from each board, and then also the smart people in the room. So Al and perhaps a member of his staff, and
Yeah.
Patty from the county, just to make sure that we're all on the same page to understand what are the pros and cons of doing this. Because certainly there's some pros. I honestly, I just think of it from the perspective of coming out of our strategic planning that we did. Where our cohort, we put together our tree, and at the top it was partnerships and relationships, and this could definitely fall into that category of thinking, is this an opportunity for us to partner with the county on something? Not like it's going to be easy to do, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. So. Sometime this month, I would probably suggest we can base it on the city county planning committee assignments if we want, but just have a handful of folks from both entities sit down, talk about the pros and cons, and then bring that back to the board bring that back to respective boards for further discussion.
Thanks. So let that tickle your brain here while I'm telling you about the next item. Commissioner Schramm contacted me. He's your liaison with the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, and it was discussed at that meeting a consideration of possibly implementing some type of rental housing standards in the city of Yankton. That has been mentioned in the past. It's something that other communities do. That is maybe a larger undertaking than the other 2 items we're talking about, and would require quite a bit of resources. But I think in order to have a full understanding of what we would recommend, how that would come together, would take some staff time to put together for the discussion purposes. So I think what the issue is, and maybe Commissioner Schramm, you have more information, but that there's a concern that there are some spaces that maybe are not, that folks are living in that may have some hazard or danger to the folks living in them, and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority is concerned about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the main concern, is that there's a lack of housing, period, and then some of the housing units in town that are market rate housing are not, in their opinion, the best quality to live in. So there's that concern, and part of our mission is to create exemplary spaces to learn, engage, and thrive. And so it is a big conversation. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of information we'd have to gather and figure out if it's even feasible and what that would take. But Vermillion, for example, has done it. They've created a minimum housing standard. Inspectors go in to make sure the units meet the quality standards, and then landlords can grant occupancy to their tenants. So this is not to say there are a lot of housing units in Yankton that are this way, but there are some, and something we could look at going forward.
So those 3 things were brought to me in the last week, and as a staff, we're happy to do all of them, none of them, some of them. We just need to know from you all, what the priority is, and we are feeling quite maximized, I guess, with what we've got currently sort of right in front of us. So we can talk timing or we can talk interest, but we want to definitely follow your direction and let you set the priorities for us. So just curious if these topics you want to put as agenda items in the future, or you want us to get moving on them, or how you want to, what your interest is on all of those. And I can give more information or more sort of detail on what we're working on right now. But I just want to know from the whole of you, because when I hear from one of you, I don't, and maybe the others haven't talked, I don't know what's important to whom and
So
et cetera.
my question would be, and as you all know, I had to leave strategic planning a bit early for a family wedding. Were any of these items brought up and put on the list for the 12 to 18-month projects, or did all of this come up after strategic planning?
I can't necessarily say that yes and no, in the sense that the Norfolk Exchange, I talked about with Commissioner Johnson when he was the mayor, and we were on tap to do something like that before the pandemic hit. We talked about maybe commission things we could do differently, and having a work session about, I say commission-y type things, timing of meetings, compensation for commissioners. Election, to me, would kind of move into that because it impacts you. So yes and no. And then the rental standards, we didn't talk about specifically. It's been talked about, brought up in the past, I believe. And it's just because of the amount of resources, I think, and some other complications we haven't explored. So I'm not saying that exploring it means you're going to do something about it either, but so not specifically, no, but you could relate some of the things to the 12 to 18-month kind of priority list that we talked about.
Okay, because that was going to be then my next question is, if we do agree, and I think these are all great ideas, it's just the timing of them all, so I'm not fighting that. I just want to make sure, given direction already that we've given, if we add these things, do we have the capacity to add these things, or does something have to come off the list?
Something has to move down from the list of priorities. But, if we're willing to wait some time before we dig into these things, that's okay as well.
Does anybody need to hear what those priorities are in the 12 to 18 months? Again, I know Amy has her list here. We went over it at strategic planning, but does anybody need a reminder of what those are, or? Sure, they said. You want to quickly summarize?
Sure. Okay, I'll do that, and then maybe what I could do is suggest, if you're interested in all these things, how I would tackle that. So we would have in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be pretty focused on the wastewater plans and decision-making that we have to do. The wastewater and water modeling will come. I need to focus on the recruitment and hopefully hire of a human resources director. We have a FMLA policy to revamp, and we have to negotiate our fraternal order of police agreement, as well as update our employee manual. We need to get into our FEMA project and hopefully get a LiDAR flown so we can make an appropriate appeal to FEMA regarding the flood mapping and floodplain issue we talked with you about. E-ticketing in the police department is something budgeted that we wanted to put in motion. We'd like to have a Marn Creek project. We know that will likely be phased, but we'd like to put that project together and get that out. We need to get our comp plan, request for proposals, and hopefully have a contract so we can go down that road. That'll kind of be a 2-year process, but we need to get moving on that. We have an application for the Cedar Street Bridge that we need to complete. Want to address the 1929 water plant has been an item that we've talked about that kind of got on hold during the pandemic in case we needed that facility, but I think we're okay to move ahead with that. We have a Westside Park project that's going to be a big endeavor, exciting, but a big project to work on. We're still working on our infrastructure in City Hall, rewiring, and some small remodel there, but mostly rewiring. Stormwater management plan on North Broadway associated with some decisions that have been made in the past, and we've talked to you about that, so we're working on that. Our active transportation plan project, we'd like to do another project in this next coming year since we didn't, we were on hold here for 1 year, so we'd like to get moving on that. The ARP, Build America funds and utility projects, determining what we can use there, and now Build America Better. I'm not sure what that is but I think that would come in under this. We put Tell Our Story, and I don't have all my notes, but I think one of the things we talked about is talking more about the work we're doing as a city. The marijuana licensing should be approved, I would assume, soon, and we'll know who our folks are that will have the licenses, so we will be assisting them as they get going, complying with the state and local law. The emergency public health preparedness, I'm not sure how much that will take. Facade grant execution, we have outstanding projects. We want to help them get past the finish line, but I'm hoping the commission will want to go through another cycle of those. That is in the budget. The SAC operations, we know we need to take a look at. We also will be renegotiating Fox Run Golf Course. We talked about the cemetery property, talking a little more about that and what commission direction is there. And then we just have things like fine tuning some ordinances that have been on our list for a while. Going about our daily operations and providing basic services. We'd hope to have some time to do some long-range planning and things and thinking about things pertaining to our plan that we put together. Changing meeting times as a work session perhaps, and then talking about tourism and talking about employee recruitment. So those are kind of the things that we listed. If the items are important, and I've had this discussion already with Nathan on the exchange, the timing before the end of the year may be difficult for us, just due to some staff availability and also just with a lot of things coming down the pipe. But if that's an important thing you guys would like to do, I would suggest maybe in this new year or when it gets a little warmer. I don't think I want to. I don't want to, and I don't want other people to walk around if it's subpolar vortex, but we can keep an eye on when might work. That might guide the schedule. I think the election would be something that we'd probably need to incorporate a lot of folks in the discussion, and so I don't know if for this year that would be a possibility, but if we wanted to explore that, maybe talk about it as a group and then see if we wanted to get the other parties involved. And then the item with the rental standards, I think we'd have to probably put some time and research into a memorandum, and I wouldn't commit to that probably until spring or summer, and probably have a series, either of work sessions or a work group to vet out what all that would incorporate, and then propose it to the full commission. Is that, if that's something you would want to take on, that would have serious budget implications, where the other items may not have as many budget implications. So bring it to you sometime before budget, just to get a larger scope. But you can prioritize those, of course, however you want. We can, do something differently too. When I get requests from one commissioner, I like to bring it all forward so you guys can talk about it together.
Do you have something you want to share?
Charlie Gross.
We're obviously not voting tonight, so feel free to speak.
1510 Burley. Just a question on the election. Is that, this is Al or Frost, is that state statute? Is that city ordinance? That obviously changes when you take office also. So that all has to be part and parcel of the same
Right. There is a statutory process that allows us to modify and piggyback on the county's election date, but that would change our process. Our sign die or signee die would change.
Okay. Thank you.
January 14th. That's when we'd have to have our combined letter message to the state that we're going to set a different date from
Yeah.
the April.
Yeah, our deadlines for the whole process get shifted differently. I think what you've laid out, Amy, for a plan sounds acceptable to me. I'm interested in discussing all of those topics and doing it in a way that allows staff to focus on their priorities, but still work these in.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds very reasonable.
So the direction coming from the commission would be to look at a spring, summer, possibly for an exchange with Norfolk, so we can show off our beautiful lake and all of that, okay? And then bring up the next two, talking about combining the city election and looking at a housing and redevelopment. Rental housing standards could be then 2 of our work sessions in 2022. Is that acceptable? Is that kind of what you're saying?
We don't have primaries every year, so it's not necessarily going to be the case that even 2023 would be applicable, but we'd be then talking about 2024, just an FYI. And so real quick too, with the format as far as a combined city-county, it would be basically like what we, Commissioner Brunick, Mosier, myself, that we went through in 2020. Is that right? I mean, we went through those same motions regardless of the fact that, there was this emergency declaration, that we still had to go through basically similar motions in order to make that happen. Is that right? I guess I'm looking at Ross, but he's nodding.
Yes.
Okay. And then I would also say, since like what Mason was talking about, the what Vermillion has already passed, just another example, it sounds like there's something that they already have on the books, and if that's something that we can have relayed to us to take a look at, I don't think there's any reason why we'd hold off on that if it's available for us to review already at this point.
Only thing I'd add to that, Tony, on Vermillion is there are other communities that are in the process of starting this or have this that are similar size to Yankton, and Vermillion's may not be the best approach. There might be other approaches that we could look at. So we wouldn't have to recreate the wheel necessarily from the beginning.
Well, I will talk with the staff that's involved. That's enough direction for me, and talk about the timing of these things. What I won't do is sacrifice doing one of these things that we talked about well to do something new. So I just want folks to know that, if it gets to be April or May and we haven't quite yet had the one work session, I won't stall on it, but I want to make sure we're doing these things well. And who knows, we could be going along and have a curveball thrown at us like we had in 19 and 20. So I'll take cues from the staff as well, but I want to just set boundaries to what's, what makes sense for us and what we can do well. And so just wanted to vocalize that.
One curveball I think we all can kind of sort of plan for, but it's going to come and hijack a lot of our time, is recreational marijuana. I think that's going to be a thing next election or next legislative
He had to
session.
say it. I wasn't thinking about that. Thanks, Ross.
Yeah.
Leave it to Ross to remember the curveball. Any other discussion? We're good with kind of where we're leaving it and direction we've given to Amy? Perfect. All right. With that, then there is no other business. So I would ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss contractual litigation and personnel matters under SDCL 1-25-2.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning into executive session, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And any abstention? All right. We are adjourned into executive session.